Welcome to the Jones Zone, a podcast by Darryl and JJ Jones.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Jones Zone. Today, we are blessed with the presence of Liz Nilsson. Liz is the marketing director at Morningside Retirement Community in Fullerton. I've been dying to do a show on this because Morningside has been around for about as long as I've been in real estate. Very, very popular retirement community. In fact, Liz, tell us, when did they start? When did they open?
We opened in the fall of 1991.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So I got in the business in 1990. So
okay. Long time.
I sent Liz a bunch of questions so she wasn't too surprised. And of course, I didn't ask her question number one. I asked her a different question. So I'll try not to throw you any dodgeballs here. Tell us more about Morningside. First of all, I had the pleasure of visiting there last week. It is spectacular. It's 33 acres. And it's right there in Fullerton on the corner of Bass and Cherry and Brea Boulevard. How does one go about moving into Morningside Retirement Community? And is that what you call a retirement community?
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions there for me to unpack. I'm very excited to answer all of these. So Morningside, the retirement housing industry or senior living industry is really big. And it's really complex. So to have the opportunity to share with your listeners a little bit about our type of community, I think will be valuable because I really do think it's the most comprehensive plan that a senior could put in place when they're thinking about retirement and also their future. We are what's called a life plan community. And what that means is that our residents move into the community independently. As retirees, they want some nice to have services, maybe a clubhouse where they can have meals, amenities like golf, pickleball, putting, swimming pool, fitness, social. I could go on and on. Maintenance-free living, a lot of nice to haves. But they also want to put a plan in place for the future. So those maybe need to haves with our health as we get older. So we also have a healthcare center for assisted living, skilled nursing, and memory care. All that's included in the decision to move into the community as well as the cost associated. And I hope we can talk a little bit more about that too, because that really is probably the value proposition when you choose a community like ours.
Yeah, it's basically
but a short version that the residents love to say about what is Morningside, they'll say it's a country club, a cruise ship, and a college campus rolled into one.
I've been there and I can attest to that. That is for sure. So what types of living arrangements are available? What are the costs associated with each type of living arrangement?
Sure. So the cost associated with life plan communities, it really is different than buying a home or renting something. So with a life plan community like Morningside, you pay a one-time entrance fee when you move into the community based on the size of home that you select, as well as single or double occupancy. And then you pay an ongoing monthly fee for the services. And I'll tell you a little bit more about what the cost is, the range, but what I can tell you is that one-time entrance fee is repayable. So it's not like a fee that you pay and it goes away forever. It does go back no less than 75% and up to 100% depending on how long you live here. So it's kind of like having estate planning rolled in as well. Again, it ranges from what location that you pick, the style of floor plan. We have over 24 floor plans from studio, 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom apartments, all the way up to 2- and 3-bedroom villas. So the entrance fee, that one-time cost, starts at $295,000 and goes up to over $1 million. And then the ongoing monthly fee, again based on single or double occupancy, it starts at $4,000 and goes up from there. And if you have an extra person, you would just add roughly $2,400. So about $6,400 if you want to think for 2 people to live here. It sounds like a lot. But when we talked about the fact that it's a comprehensive package, there's a lot of things to unpack and dig into a little bit more about what it includes.
Let's dig into that now. So what are the amenities? You mentioned some prior to this, but tell me more about the amenities that you have.
Gosh, where do I even start? So amenities included in that monthly fee that I talked about are some of those like household expenses. You don't have to worry about utilities and electricity and landscaping and maintenance. That's all included. But then amenities, like what are the fun things that we like to do? Well, we have an outdoor pool. We have a fitness center. We have a performing arts center where we have all of our entertainment and events. We have a clubhouse with card rooms. We have a billiards room. We have that pickleball court, bocce, croquet, a pitch and putt.
A putting
golf course.
Yeah.
we have a putting green separate from our golf course because the putting green's kind of closer to the clubhouse. So if you're out strolling and you want to try and work on your putt, you can just stop and do that on your way to dinner versus if you want to go down to the golf course. That's a little bit, it's beautiful. It's down the canyon, gorgeous view. I feel like I've left something out. We have so many things here. Oh, food. That's our favorite activity at Morningside is eating. We have 3 different options for food here at Morningside too. All chef inspired menus, breakfast, lunch, dinner. I'm ready to move in myself.
I know. I tell you, after visiting with you last week, I thought the same thing. I thought, my goodness, yeah, I think a cruise ship on ground is a really good explanation or description of what you have here, have there, and everything else. So now, are there any additional fees for certain activities or services?
Not many, but there are. So for example, if you want to have alcohol in the restaurant, that would be a separate charge, but it is by no means what you're going to pay if you go out to eat. It's definitely less expensive to have a glass of wine here at our restaurant. If you want to go to the salon and get your hair done or nails, we have one here on campus as well, and that is an extra cost. If we go on excursions, maybe we're going to go to Segerstrom, that ticket cost would be your expense. Other
To
than
go where?
that,
Where
like, let's
would
say
you
we
go?
go out on an excursion and we go down to Segerstrom to see a play.
Oh, what's Segrist? What's Segrist?
Segerstrom Center, the Performing Arts Center down in Orange County.
Okay, forgive me.
Near. That's okay. It's
I'm not as cultured as most, so forgive me.
but let's say you're going to plays, or we're going to go to a museum, or things like that. Then your ticket cost would be obviously outside of the monthly fee. But that's pretty much it.
It includes a lot. It includes basically everything.
It really does. It takes a lot of those monthly fees that monthly charges that you're paying in your home and just really rolls it into one. So it makes it really simple as far as, when you go to pay your bills every month, you're not going to have very many to pay. I mean, obviously our residents are still coming and going and doing a lot of things that they were doing in their home prior to coming to the community, but there's a lot of things they may go out for less often because oftentimes they hear the food is so much better at Morningside for the value. They'd rather just eat on campus.
And your location is fantastic because you can walk to a few different restaurants as well as a grocery store, et cetera, right there on Bass and Cherry and Brea Boulevard. How old do you need to be able to get into Morningside? And talk to us a little bit about that.
The minimum age is 60. So if you're a couple, at least one person needs to be 60, and it goes up from there.
Wow. So a 61-year-old woman with a 25-year-old husband could go in there and have the time of their lives.
Yes, she could.
All right. Good to know. How many meals are planned or served? Are there any options for special dietary needs? Like vegan or no lactose intolerant, all that fun stuff?
Absolutely. I think to answer your question, 2 parts. As part of the monthly fee, you do get 1 meal included. Against independent living, people are coming and going, still preparing meals in their own kitchen. The menu is extensive. There's a lot of different options for all sorts of diets. If you want to do low salt, maybe you want to do lower fat, paleo, keto. We don't have everything listed on an icon, but you can certainly ask your server. But if you're gluten-free or vegan, or you're watching your calories, a lot of that information is right on our menus to make it easy for you. If you have needs that you're not sure about, just ask the server, the chef. They'll adapt to whatever it is that you might need.
What healthcare services are available on site? How do you manage that?
That's a great question. So a lot of our residents, when they're moving into the community, they are putting kind of a plan in place for long-term care. There's really the short-term options that maybe you're asking about if you have a medical issue, and then like the long-term care options. So let's talk about long-term care first. If here at Morningside residents are moving in independently, but as they age and start to need more help, or maybe they're finding that some of the activities of daily living, like managing their medications or needing help with showering or even going about doing their day, if it's something that's not occasional, but it's every single day, then they might start having the conversation about making the move to a higher level of care, whether that's assisted living, memory care, or skilled nursing. And again, that cost is included in the monthly fee that you pay. Many people just don't understand the impact of long-term care and what the cost of memory care could be or assisted living. So we can talk about that too. From a day-to-day basis, like what services are here at Morningside, we do have our director of resident health services in the department that really is charged with the overall health and well-being of the residents. So if you're not feeling well, you can certainly call them and talk to them and see if there's something that they can help you with, or maybe make a recommendation to go to your doctor. If you want your blood pressure checked, or maybe you had a little surgery and you'd like them to help you change your dressing, little things like that we can certainly help you with. If you have a huge medical emergency, you're not feeling well at all, and it seems serious, we do have EMTs on site 24/7, 7 days a week. So either knocking your phone off the hook, they will come running and assess the situation and obviously get paramedics involved if needed. Or even if it's maybe a minor emergency, we even have a system now where if you're unsure, if you really think you want to go to the hospital, we could get a telemedicine doctor online and have that consultation with you right there in your home to make sure, kind of to assess, like, do I really need to go to the hospital or am I okay? Just to have that peace of mind knowing there's someone here, staff here, that can be a resource for you is oftentimes what I hear residents say, that they just feel so much more, again, peace of mind.
Literally life-saving.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of stories about that, how people are in their home in minutes to see what, is going on and help assess the situation, get them the help they
Wow.
need.
So what's the process for moving from independent living to assisted living to the other care levels?
Sure. Again, I mentioned we're a life plan community, and we are governed by the Department of Social Services. So there are qualifications to move into Morningside. And then there's a process of going from independent to higher levels of care. So let me tell you about both of those. To move into Morningside, you need to be age qualified, 60 or greater, financially qualified, and we have a great tool for that will help you make sure that your money will last. We're more conservative in that approach. And then lastly, you have to be health qualified. So we do have a pretty easy situation. You just fill out a form with your doctor, and then a form that we actually have you complete on your own health, and then you sit down with our Director of Resident Health Services and review that. Because much like maybe you would purchase, let's say, car insurance, you're not going to get your insurance after you crash your car, right? We all know that. Same thing with the type of contract that we're offering here. Because we're going to cover your long-term care, we have to make sure that you're capable of independent living when you move in. And so then that takes us to the next part, is certainly you're going to age, right? You're going to age and your needs may change. Making a decision to come to a community like ours means you are putting that plan in place. So if you start to see that you might need more care, we don't knock on your door and send you up. Time to go to assisted living, time to go to skilled nursing, time to go to memory care. No, it's a conversation. Yourself, whoever else is involved in your care, your doctor, our executive director, our director of resident health services. It's really to assess what your needs are and how we can support you. It's a conversation that could happen months in advance because things are changing. Or maybe there's unfortunately like something more critical and you had a major health crisis that might have you now living in skilled nursing and it's a little more sudden. But we're with you every step of the way to make that transition smoothly.
So do most people move in healthy? Excuse my naive questions. Let's say someone that has Alzheimer's, clearly has
Yes.
Alzheimer's.
Yes.
You guys would still take them, but it would be a different level.
Not necessarily.
No?
No. So
Okay.
that's the part about the health qualification, because with that long-term care insurance, like any insurance company, you're always assessing for risk. So there are some things that we cannot do in our community under our licensing. For example, dementia. So we cannot have someone move into the community, let's, for lack of a better term, is actively has dementia or Alzheimer's. That being said, if you move in and years later you develop that, we're going to guide you through that process and support you as you need it, get to a higher level of care. So yes, you couldn't come in with dementia into independent living.
You need to be healthy, qualify for it.
Yeah, and in my experience, there may be other types of conditions that would have to be evaluated to make sure you be a good fit. So that's why we do this information from your doctor, information you complete, and then just have this meeting so that we can really assess that part of it. Because we're assuming all the risk for the financial outlay of that long-term care. That is, not everybody could possibly be accepted or qualified. I think the moral of the story is don't wait too long
Well,
to move into the
next
community.
That's my next question. Well, before I go to the next question, the facility does have the capability of taking a healthy person, and whether or not they develop Alzheimer's or whatever, you guys can basically, they can stay there for the rest of their life 99.9% of the time. Does that make sense? Or
Yes,
is that accurate?
Yes, that's why people choose our type of community, because they want to move in independently and enjoy all those fun, nice to haves we talked about. But be the key decision maker in their future. We're all aging. We're all going to have some concerns. And in fact, I can share a study with you from Stanford University. This was done in 2019. They asked retirees, how many of you are planning to stay in your home as you age? And what percentage of people do you think wanted to stay in their home until they passed away? You're pointing upwards, like high number, right?
Well, I'm guessing that a lot of them think that they will and do, but end up not. Is that the case?
Correct. Yeah. 80% of them said they wanted to stay in their home as they aged, but the reality is about 20% actually get to. Correct.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. Why the appeal is this is because our people are putting a plan in place, and hopefully they don't need it. But if they do, they have the place. They know they have priority access. It's there when they need it. If they're not in crisis mode trying to find a place, and also they can financially predict what that's going to be because their monthly fee doesn't change.
What's the average age of new occupants of Morningside?
I would say realistically, we have most people move in between their mid 70s. We have people younger, but I would say probably mid 70s, maybe to early 80s would be about average time people are moving in. There's always going to be the bell curve where there's people moving in a little earlier, people moving in a little bit later. My advice to you is don't wait until you think you're ready because you may not qualify.
You want to move when you don't have to move. Is that fair to say?
I think like anything, we know it's overwhelming. Many of our residents who move in have lived in their homes. I know you experience this, Darryl, 30, 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
So the thought of downsizing and making a move is overwhelming, but it doesn't get easier as you get older. So I think finding that balance between making the move when you're still easy for you, it's not as hard, having people help you through it. But I think there's still some misunderstanding about what kind of community we are. I think sometimes people, when they first come here, they think we're assisted living and they're coming here and this is really the last step. That's not really the case. Morningside is really retirement living, less responsibility, more peace of mind. But yes, at some point, if you needed it, there would be higher level of care to help you.
Yeah, for some reason I feel like mentioning that it's not jail. You're going there and you're just completely free to come and go as you please, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we don't lock the gates at night and you're not, like the Hotel California, you can check out. Again, people are coming and going and doing all the things that they did when they lived in their home that you sold them years ago. Now they just have less responsibility. They don't have to worry about, maintenance or landscaping or, preparing meals. Think about being in a community of all like-minded, age-appropriate, similar interests, similar stage of life. And all these really interesting people who've had these careers. I mean, dinner every night, the conversations are it's so mentally engaging as well. Socialization is so huge for aging well. And of course, we have all of our activities. We have fitness instructors and personal trainers. People are aging well here. We don't talk about aging in place. We talk about aging better in place.
It's interesting because I know now my stage of life, I don't need to really say how old I am, but in any event, it's interesting to me how we used to reference things. I'll bring up like Happy Days or the Fonz or Love Boat or television pop culture things. And the younger generation will look at me like, what are you talking about? So that's probably another kind of a neat thing that you have there where these people are all, they kind of get the jokes and they know what you're talking about. Yeah. What's your oldest residence? I don't know if this is
oh my gosh, I don't even know if I know, but we do have residents have celebrated their 100th birthday here. I can tell you that. I do know that. I don't know the age of our oldest resident. We do have people who celebrate decade birthdays with us because they're aging well.
I know women outlive men, right? Do you have more women there than men?
I think that would be an accurate statement. Yes.
I know I had talked to somebody else because a lot of actual relationships develop from this move as well,
yeah,
right?
We have had some love connections here at Morningside. And in my time here, I've definitely seen some love connections and even a wedding at Park Vista. Now, it wasn't residents, but it was residents' grandchild. They really wanted her involved. And so they actually had the wedding at Park Vista and we put on a huge production for them.
Oh, that is...
So it kind of speaks a little bit to the community too. It really is one big family, residents and staff alike. We spend every day together.
Speaking of grandkids, what are your visitation rules, your visitor rules?
I feel like we're talking about jail again.
Well, maybe you don't have one. That'd be great. But I'm guessing, for example, because you do have the age restriction, so somebody can't come and stay forever. So
I'm giving you a hard time.
Tell me how you would answer it.
So Morningside is a gated community. So as far as visitors are concerned, like we have a standing, if you have frequent visitors, they're on our list. We will let them in. If it's your daughter, your grandchild, obviously our frequent visitors, they're very welcome. Other visitors are announced if you weren't expecting them. So that's a nice, peace of mind as well. But then just having people come and go in your home. This is your home. If you want to have people over for coffee, over for dinner, spend the night, this is your home. Yes, they can do that. We kind of joke about people can come for a break, but they can't stay for a semester. So anything past like 14 days of having somebody, just talk with the executive director. We just want to make sure everybody's being in the best interest of the community.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But we love visitors. We have grandchildren, families. We do birthday parties. It's your home.
Let's say I own a house, come to you and I go, hey, I'm ready to move into a retirement facility, a retirement community.
Thank you.
Yes, forgive me. Community. Do they have to put their name on a waiting list? Walk me through that.
Obviously, we have residency counselors that will meet with you, give you a tour of the community, help you really understand, like we've been talking about, what you get here from your home to your amenities to the long-term care. And once you start seeing that this seems to be a decision for you and you've made that decision, because we're full, we stay highly occupied. The best way to move into the community is to get onto our wait list or become a member of our future residents club. And what that does is secure your place in line. You pick out the floor plan preferences that you're interested in. And as they become available, we go through the wait list. And when your name comes up, then you have the opportunity to make a decision to move into the community. You can pass if you want to, if it's not quite the right timing, but that's how that works.
You get on the list and something becomes available. The list never changes until someone goes off it or chooses something. If I remember correctly, I had some clients who definitely wanted the casita. Is that what it's called?
Villas.
The villas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The villas. So I think they passed on a couple other residents until a villa became available and then they snatched it right up.
So we have, again, I think I mentioned the different types, but we have 24 different floor plans. Part of understanding what you want is us understanding how you live your life. What kind of, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, is that an apartment? Some people want to be close into the action, or is that a villa? Maybe a little bit more around the perimeter of the community, kind of residential. That's part of your residency counselor's job, is understanding what you want, the strategy behind when you want to move into the community, and then working with you to try and have all those things align. People who want villas, oftentimes we do have to talk a little bit more about strategy because they are in demand. There's a whole different way our residency counselor could advise you about that to kind of align your timing.
So what's the smallest and then what's the largest?
So realistically, we do have a few studios. 1-bedroom apartment would be the smallest. They're about 600 square feet. The largest, we do have large 3-bedroom apartments that are about 1,300 square feet. And then we have 3-bedroom villas, which are roughly about the same, 1,300 to 1,500 square feet for our 2- and 3-bedroom villas.
Well, I saw them. They are very nice. So residents personalize their living space. And pets. How about pets? Do you have pets? Allow pets, I should say?
We do allow pets. We have many dogs and cats and birds here. If it's something a little more creative than that, then we should probably talk about it. But yes, pets are welcome.
Are there a lot of pets? A lot of people have pets?
Yeah, I think we have, I want to say maybe 40 dogs, but I don't know how many cats and birds we have. Yeah.
How many units are there?
We have 326 homes, and of those, 57 are villas. The rest are apartment communities.
What is the community's policy on smoking and drinking alcohol?
We do allow alcohol. We don't allow smoking or vaping. We are smoke-free campus. We do have designated areas on the campus that are far away from the common areas. So if you have a guest and they need to smoke, then we can certainly find and accommodate them. But we are a smoke-free community.
So what about customization of the home? What can be done there?
Great question. Yes, we want residents to make this their home. Once we let you know that your floor plan is becoming available and you decide it's the one that you want, then you have the opportunity to pick your flooring, your paint, if there's any custom options you want to do, built-ins, recessed lighting, putting in ceiling fans. Yeah, we would definitely work with you through that process. Some things are included. Some things we would get quotes for you and it would be out-of-pocket expense. But yes, it's your home to customize and make your own.
Give us an idea of what's included. Paint and flooring or?
Paint and flooring, yeah.
Okay.
We have standard options, and then if you want something more extensive, then we could certainly give you a quote for that.
What's the staff to resident ratio?
We have about just over 400 residents and probably close to 200 staff. So if I did my math correctly, that seems like a 2-to-1 ratio.
That's pretty good. Well, when we met last
Our
week,
residents are well taken care of. They oftentimes will say that they're spoiled.
well, they sure looked happy when I was there. I was going to say you could tell that you were authentically very happy to work there and was very impressed with where you work in Morningside. If I remember correctly, you said it's the best place in Orange County or California. It's one of the premier places. Is it fair to say?
I think so. I think it's one of the most comprehensive places as far as putting a whole plan in place for a retiree, and then just the level of services and amenities that we have here. We just completed our resident satisfaction survey, which we do every 2 years. And of the communities within our little family, I'm just going to say we were number one
Very nice.
for
Very nice.
resident
Yep.
satisfaction.
All right. How many do you guys, when I say you guys, I guess the owner of Morningside, they have a few others throughout the nation or throughout California?
What's similar with the different communities that are like ours is the management company, so shared services. So communities like us throughout California, there's a company called Continuing Life that we have hired as our management company, and they help us with shared services and support so that we don't have to all have HR and all have accounting. So that might be a similar thing that we're connected to. But as far as other communities, life plan communities in California, for us, we're independently owned and operated. But
Got it.
supported by Continuing Life, there are 6 that are open from Northern California down to San Diego, and then 2 that we're currently developing. But we're all independently owned and operated.
How does a community ensure the safety and the security of its residents?
Excellent question. There's a couple ways. One is just when you think about the campus itself. We are a gated community. We do have a safety kiosk with safety officers at it. And you might be like, why do you say the word safety? Fullerton is extremely safe. But it's really for the safety and well-being of the residents from just people entering the community, but also the medical part we talked about before. They're all trained as EMTs. So that's why we use the term safety. So gated community. But then the other way that we check on our residents daily, not an intrusive way, is we have a system where residents just simply open their door and close it between the hours of 5:30 and 10:30 in the morning. And it lets us know that they're up and about and they're safe in their home. But if for some reason they didn't do that, then we call them. They don't answer the phone. We come and knock on the door. If they don't answer the door, then our safety team would enter their home and make sure that they're okay. Maybe they had an incident happen and they need medical assistance. So everybody is checked on at least once a day. But of course, if you go on vacation, just let us know. Then we'll know there's a reason why your door wasn't opened. But
It's a simple electronic device.
open and close, breaks the
All right.
signal. Yeah, and
Yeah.
that way, it's not intrusive. It's just a simple open and close, and it lets us know that you're safe.
My aunt, bless her heart, she had fallen. I want to say she was on the floor for a good 12 to 13 hours.
Yeah.
And she actually had a life alert button, but she had forgotten that she had it, bless her heart.
Aw,
But
yeah.
she ended up being okay. She's out of state, but in any event. So yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense what you guys do.
But of course, if residents are conscious and they need help, just even knocking their phone off the hook sends a signal to our safety kiosk. They'll come and check on them. But if
Oh.
that didn't happen and they didn't open and close the door, we would go through that process I just described.
I feel like I don't even need to ask this next question because you already covered it. But the maintenance issues are handled and the response time, it sounds as though you guys are Johnny on the spot and pretty quick.
Yeah, I think the great thing about the maintenance is, yes, we handle maintenance and we handle landscaping and housekeeping. We even do laundry. I didn't mention that earlier. We do all of your sheets and towels and bulkier items. But I think the one thing when I talk about maintenance, it's one thing to say we take care of it, but I think it's interesting to see, like, if you have a maintenance concern, you just pick up the phone and call in-house to our maintenance team. You're not having to find somebody, not having to find a plumber or an electrician, whatever else it might be. You just call one place. It's going to be handled by people that you know. Of course, they prioritize the need. If you're having an overflowing toilet versus you need someone to change a light bulb, they prioritize it. And obviously, most urgent things get handled first. Yeah, you just pick up the phone.
Boy, just having someone else change my light bulbs might be worth the
We even do the small stuff.
yeah. Now I've heard a person can move in there and boy, they will not be bored. You've got a ton of activities where if someone wanted to be busy with things all day long, they can. Talk to us a little bit about what those options look like.
I would second that. Residents can be as busy as they want to be. Every month we put out an activity calendar. It really is grouped in a variety of different ways. So if you're a fitness person, we have exercise classes. We have group exercise classes if you like to be kind of part of a more social type of environment. Or we have the fitness center where you could go work one-on-one with a trainer or even by yourself with excellent exercise equipment geared specifically for seniors.
Trainer extra money, or is that included?
No, included.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
We have fitness activities that happen every single day. And then I would say there's like educational opportunities. We put on a lot of different seminars. We have a lot of guest speakers. So there might be something like that going on the calendar. Entertainment. So if you want to hear music or we maybe have a band, we're getting ready to have our own Morningside State Fair next week. So we're going to recreate kind of the Orange County Fair, but here at Morningside. So maybe you like to do more social things. Maybe you're an artist and you want to go to a watercolor class. Maybe you love games. You can go to the billiards room. You can play cards, game nights. Maybe you like movies that show regularly in the Performing Arts Center. So there really is something, I would say, for most everybody if you want to be busy, and it changes every month.
And there's excursions too. You've got excursions all the time, right?
Thank you for bringing that up. We do. Sometimes we take it off campus and go to different events. Maybe we go to the museums. We've been to the SoFi Stadium. People love that tour. Beach walks. We do park walks every week where people can load up in our transportation, in our van. They'll take them to a beautiful location. They'll do a park walk.
All my clients who have moved in there have been very, very happy. I mean, it's so
great to hear. That makes me happy.
Blessing. Yes, for sure. So how does the community support residents' mental and emotional well-being?
I think there are a couple ways. One is we do have some support groups that are resident focused, generated. So we have some grief groups. Maybe people have lost their spouse and they want to come and be in a kind of a support environment that way. That's resident led. We also talk about if there's changes in people's health over time. We have our director of resident health services, again, who's responsible for the care and well-being of the residents. They can kind of help walk alongside you, answer questions. I mean, that can be a very confusing and overwhelming time if you're the child of one of our residents or even the resident ourselves, how to navigate these changes, be it physically or mentally. So I think having a person here who's knowledgeable and can guide you through that really supports people mentally, physically. And we even have spiritual ways people can be supported. Book studies, Bible studies, different things people can do.
Right.
And just friends, just having companionship and socialization, I think really helps people have an overall better outlook.
Well, it's funny. I don't know why I thought of this, but I had read a study once about how oftentimes, I don't know how this pertains, but I thought of it. Oftentimes the caretaker actually passes. Mm-hmm. It's more stress on the caretaker than the person who's being cared for. So
yes.
You have a lot of that there where you have one spouse that needs more care than the other.
Sure. I mean, again, people age in different ways. So you move into the community, healthy, but over time, as you get older, things can happen. And couples, they age at different rates in different conditions. So I think having that team of people here who can kind of be that sounding board for you. And again, we see our residents every single day and we can notice changes or even that maybe people need support. I just think that expertise and advice that we have on our teams to really walk side by side with our residents is just invaluable.
Well, and you mentioned earlier how you guys were voted, what was it, voted number one in service or
our resident satisfaction survey. And really, we do that every 2 years. It's a great way for us to continue to understand like the pulse of the residents and how they're feeling across all departments, from housekeeping to maintenance, to our safety team, to our food and beverage team, to our activities team, to our executive director. Like we have them rate everything as far as, their overall satisfaction. And then we take their comments very seriously and use that just to continue to improve.
I know, for example, on HOAs, they oftentimes have owners as members of a board or some sort of that. Are the members, do they get to chime in on any big decisions at Morningside or what decisions do they get to kind of give their input on? Anything?
I'm glad you asked that because we do have a resident council. They're really our liaison between the residents and, ownership and management. Every resident can come and talk to any director or the executive director at any time about any issue. But we also have this resident council who kind of is that liaison to oversee and be a part of the process. We also have a financial committee who is a part of reviewing our budget with us every year because our budget sets our monthly fees. And of course, that's of interest to our residents. So we do have ways that residents can be involved in that kind of governing body, so to speak, or I don't know if it's really governing body, but it's more of a liaison committee type thing. But then aside from that, we have tons of other committees that residents can get involved in and be a part of, whether it's a liaison between a health center, maybe they have gifting where they like to visit people. Maybe people want to participate on our events committee, our flower committee, our welcome committee. I think we have several, 15, 20, maybe more. Don't hold me to it. Committees where residents can get involved and really contribute their gifts to the community at large.
How about family involvement in the community? Are there any functions where the family historically gets involved or anything like that? Or it's just a matter of an event by event? I mean, there's a band playing, so they invite their kids to come watch.
Families are welcome. Absolutely.
And I heard the Stones are going to be there in 5 years, right? Once they get past 85.
Maybe. They're on our wait list.
Yeah, that's when you'll get me there. You get the Stones there, I'm moving. So, and then what about transportation? So someone, they say, boy, I feel like going to, you name it, the museum or the beach or something like that. Walk me through that. How does that work?
Most of our residents, when they move into the community, they're bringing a car with them. They're still independent. They want to come and go as they choose. But we do have transportation that many residents will take advantage of. So for example, we have scheduled transportation where you just sign up if you need to go to maybe a medical appointment or maybe a hair appointment and you don't want to drive, or maybe you've given up driving. So yeah, we schedule those, and we have a radius that people can go, and it's at no cost to them. They just have to sign up in advance. So doctor's office, medical appointments, dentist, church, hair appointments, shopping, all of that can be scheduled. And then we also have set things that we do. We go to the grocery stores every week, or maybe we're going to go to Trader Joe's, something like that, that's scheduled that you can hop on. And then lastly, we help coordinate if you're going to go outside of our transportation radius, but you still don't drive, we can help coordinate like Lyfts and Ubers, where it's very easier. It's easy because if people not kind of app friendly, we could do that for them and just put it right on their billing statement. So it makes it very simple.
So if there's a conflict, I mean, hopefully, of course, you never want conflict, but if there's a conflict, how do you guys navigate through a conflict?
I think there's all level of conflicts, of course. If it's, concerns, then certainly every director for every department is available. Our executive director, it's a kind of open door policy. We're here for the residents. So certainly, hopefully we can just have a one-on-one conversation and resolve whatever concern it might be. If it's something maybe larger than that, there is a local ombudsman that people could always call and report any concerns to them, and they can navigate that. It could be anonymous or named. We have the council that we talked about, the resident council, that is certainly a sounding board for a resident to go to. We also have floor reps, I didn't mention that kind of attend these different meetings, and they could certainly represent a concern. In my time here, nothing's ever escalated beyond that. I think as part of our resident care agreement, if something were to really get out of, concern or control, we would go to arbitration.
No fist fights that you've noticed?
No, a couple arm wrestling. No, no.
Pick out the camera. That might be a YouTube special, a fist fight between two 80-year-olds.
There you go.
So is there an average wait time? So if I came up today, you guys talked about how you're filled. If I came over today, and I'm sure it'll depend on the unit, but is there an average wait time so people can properly
That is the $1 million question, because people always ask, I want to move into a 2-bedroom villa and I want to do it in, 1 year. Can I do it? Probably not in that time frame. The average wait time really depends on the floor plan. I would say villas probably have the longest wait time. On average, anybody could expect maybe 2 to 3 years. But do they become available sooner? It's possible, but that's a good rule of thumb. And because we have so many other floor plans with our apartments, probably a little bit sooner people could get in. Oftentimes people tell us they want to move in 6 months to a year. We can help you navigate that. Again, your residency counselor really provides the strategy behind it. If you wanted to move in a month, we could probably help you with that. But if you're going to be like, I only want to have an east view overlooking the this and the that and the whatever, it might be a little bit longer. But we're here to help kind of line those things up.
How much time do you give a resident or a potential applicant to conclude whatever needs to happen? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because most residents, their assets, their largest asset really is their home. And they're often using their home to pay that one-time entrance fee. In my experience, what they'll do is they'll use their home to pay the entrance fee and still have some left over, obviously, to live on and things like that. So we have a great program here at Morningside. If you're qualified for it, most people are, is we'll give you 90 days to defer paying your entrance fee while you sell your home. So I think that we try and make it as easy as possible to help people with that.
Oh, that's plenty of time, especially in this market.
Especially using you, Darryl.
Well, okay, you said it, not me, but I'll take it. Thank you. Well, I tell you, this has been incredibly helpful. I wanted to start doing, because this podcast is about everything real estate. I have so many clients moving into retirement communities. It's obviously a big motivator for people who are moving. So I wanted to have you guys on. And Morningside, of course, being even part of my life, as far as me being an Orange County resident my whole life, has always been kind of the premier place. So I appreciate you coming on here and giving us some insight. And I'm sure we haven't answered everybody's questions. So if anyone has some more specific questions that we didn't cover, what's the best way to get a hold of Liz Nielsen to ask you any questions?
Again, Darryl, thank you for the opportunity, because I think this industry is so broad and a lot of people don't know about life plan communities. So I'm really glad to get a chance to educate. And that's really what we do. We just educate. So if someone wants to start learning about us, you can start with our website, morningsideoffullerton.com. We're also on Facebook and Instagram if you want to get a little peek into the life of our staff and residents. You can find us there, or you can just, call us and set up a time to come in and meet with one of our residency counselors, and they can help you and educate you all about our type of community.
What's that phone number?
It's 714-529-2952.
All right. I have a feeling this is going to be one of our more popular shows because of society ages. I mean, I just have a tremendous amount of clients who are moving into retirement communities. Remember to say communities. So thank you. Thank you so much for doing this for us. Contact Morningside viewers. They're fantastic. I've been there. It's awesome. So, okay, signing off. Thanks for watching another episode of Jones Zone. Please subscribe to the station. It helps us get our information out to those who need it. And thanks again for listening and or watching. Till next time, Darryl Jones with the Darryl and JJ Jones team with the Jones Zone. All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.